There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes.
I'm not quite sure why I'm here or what I'm doing, but there's a reason. I don't like Facebook, and I don't like the internet. The library blocked my password. Now tell me, does that make any sense to you?
This is absolutely lit. This is lit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dark Times with Dark Match Steve. Please don't leave. I am your little host. Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Get on in here. My patience is wearing thin with you. Get in here now. What are we getting into tonight, guys? Alex Stein and Owen Shroyer are boys. Our dudes, the legends, the pimp on the blimp himself, and Alex Jones's ex butt plug, teaming up to take down some MAGA boomers. Let's check it out, guys. It should be interesting. I have seen, in full disclosure, I have not seen my pipe tobacco. I have seen a portion of this debate, and I guess it was like 15 minutes or so into it, something like that. And I was like, you know what? This would actually be probably a good one to watch with the chat. I'm just constantly thinking about the chat. How can I make the chat happy? How can I please the chat? I already edge them and do weird sensual things to them to try to make them happy. I'm barely keeping them happy here. How can we just have a little fun and not make it too weird? And this is one thing that crossed my mind when I was watching this Stein. Now, we might get bopped for this, actually, guys. I'm praying. We might have to do a little, creative stuff with putting the video, up and then dropping it, but keeping the audio going. I don't even know if this is one of those channels that's really merciless with the kiz op yurizite vizile shiz. We'll have to see. We'll find out tonight. But anyway, guys, yeah. So we're going to check this out. Alex Stein and Owen Shroyer are fighting with these. Well, I think they're mostly, pro-Trump, MAGA, boomer Republicans. And some interesting subjects come up just within the first 15 minutes or so, if I remember correctly. And this was from a few days ago. I don't know when this original. I'm not exactly sure. We'll go. When I pull it up here, we'll see when this was posted. But I think this is like a week old, not that old. So yeah, let's check it out. Here, I'll get the chat up on the page. Let me. I'm juggling too many things here. Hold on. Okay, cool. All right, so here, where are we at tonight? Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, also known as X. If you're autistic and addicted to ketamine, wherever you're at, get up in the chat. I got you all in one sexy little spot here. Going to get you lubed up and ready to go. So get up in the chat and drop those pants. Hold on, I'll get you guys up on the page here. Guys, I get a little chubbed up when I see the chat. As soon as I see the chat, I get chubbed. Chubbed for the chat. Here we go. Plat out. The blood's flowing. Here we go, guys. We'll get started here in a minute. This is actually a fairly long debate, so I don't. This is, I guess it's a little bit helpful that Scott isn't able to go live. Our boy Scott Starbird, who normally goes on before us for a good hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. So he's not live tonight. We're on a little bit early, so we can get into this a little bit early. We are going to play it in probably like a 10x speed. We're going to get through this thing in like 15 minutes, 10x speed. We're not going to understand one single word, but we're going to get through this video real quick together, okay? Here. Oh, you guys are up here? Okay. Bart Hutchison, what's up, bro? Hutch is up in here. Johnny Z, what's up, guys? Welcome, welcome. Kenny Powers up in here. Thank God I got a mod. Bob Coke Can, Cannabis Cookie Cook is up in here. What's up, Bob Cook? Maddie P's in here. The Maddiest of mods. The moddiest of mods. Maddie effing P. Scrolling down here. Oh, Promo. I almost skipped you, lover. What's up, Promo? Good to see you. The newest mod. Still the newest mod up in the chat. Saul to Paul. What's up, bro? How's it going? His sax is saxing. Yeah, it is. Those clowns can really play. They're pretty good. Candace Morin, what's up? What's up? How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Oh, man. I've been having some acid reflux shit that has just been really bad the past couple days. And you know what? I don't know if it might be the fucking spinach I bought or something. Because the first time I really noticed it bad was a few nights ago when I normally have scrambled eggs with chicken at night, or with spinach, scrambled eggs with spinach. Let me eat the chicken and the babies at the same time. No, I don't eat chicken with egg. There's probably egg and something I've had to anyway, but no, chicken or egg with spinach. I've been having some acid reflux stuff, and you know what's weird is sometimes when I'll pop a toothpick in, it like makes it worse. I don't know if it's the nicotine or the vegetable glycerin stuff that's in these. It's just 2 ingredients. I don't even know. I don't know what's going on with my stomach right now. I'm probably gonna take some kratom tomorrow, just to see if it kind of kicks my stomach back into shape or something. Broken Blister up in here. What's up? What's up? How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, let's get into it, guys. So let me pull this up here so we can get started. Eggs with spinach, bro. Eggs with spinach. I told you guys before, I think, that guy Queso, that streamer, he's a streamer, does like gaming streaming. Chubby dude, big, redheaded, like 500-pound. He's not that big. I'm kidding. He's never going to see this, so there's no reason to word this in a way to troll him. Queso, the streamer, he talked about eggs. If you do eggs with spinach, he mentioned that not too long ago. And I was like, oh, yeah, you know what? I never have eggs with spinach unless it's in quiche. So I was like, man, I should try just adding that to my eggs. And I started doing that. And I have not gone back. It's fucking incredible. And I get grass-fed organic sharp cheddar. And what else do I put in there? Some salt, some pepper, and then some mustard. I eat it with some mustard, bro. Real men eat quiche. It's good. It's good. I basically do a quiche without the crust every night. A spinach, egg, cheese with some mustard. Good with salsa. I gotta try that. I never even see, dude. It's weird. The eggs with salsa. Something happened back in the day with the McDonald's had these breakfast wrap things that was like eggs with some pepper stuff and I think maybe cheese in them. And something about that turned me off to eggs with salsa stuff in the morning. Something about that triggers me. The thought of it. I don't know. So I'm getting this up here on another tab. Hold on a second. Our boy Alex Stein. Let's see how he did here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Am I actually? Yes, I'm that stupid. Why is this? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, here we go, guys. This is like 2 hours. Here we go. I pulled the wrong thing up. Thank God I wasn't screen sharing already. I'd look like a complete fool. Okay, so this is about where I was. I did skip around some for the thumbnail that I used. So let's just go back to the beginning here. Let's see where we're starting off here.
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for conservatives.
That's stupid.
Let me just tell you what it does.
We don't care.
Tonight, we're going to do something that most people in this movement are too afraid to do. We're going to tell the truth.
Bang a tranny?
About ourselves, the conservative movement. There is a deep and significant fracture inside the right, and it's getting worse. This growing divide is over what loyalty means, what?
Spinach on pizza? I can get down with that. Yeah. Yeah, spinach on pizza. I'm a pineapple on pizza kind of guy, though. I like some really salty ass pizza. You do the pepperonis, not ham. You do the pepper. Fuck a pineapple or fuck a Hawaiian pizza. Ham and pine. No. You do the pepperonis. You do peppers. You do feta cheese. That shit, at that point, that shit's so salty. It's fucking you up, but then you do the pineapple on it with it. And that little sweet, that little bit of sweet is just neat.
Truth means and what conservative identity means. And it's not only cultural, it's generational. If you're a baby boomer, there's a good chance you have a vastly different stance.
Okay, I forgot. We're going to do 10x speed. Here we go. 3x. Look at this, guys. They actually have 3x on here. You got to pay premium. What am I going to do? Pay premium? We can barely understand when we put it in 2x. Who are we kidding? Are we kidding ourselves here, right? 3x? What is that for? That's for Destiny.
And millennials, Gen Xers, or Gen Z on many important relevant issues going on now, like the war in Iran, America's relationships with foreign allies, the stability of MAGA, the affordability crisis, AI, and a lot more. Tonight is about dragging the generational divide out into the open and debating all of these topics, whether it's uncomfortable or not. It's about putting the tension on the table and figuring out whether this movement can evolve, and can this be fixed? We're calling this a dinner table debate, meaning we're going to keep it open forum.
Okay, so I don't know who the fuck this other guy is. We got Alex Stein here on the far left, Owen Shroyer on the far right, and I wish it was me sandwiched in between the middle of them, that little man sandwich there. Hold on a second. Who the F is this guy, and what the hell channel are we watching here? Walk Away Campaign. Brendan Straka. Okay, so I thought this was a different channel. We're gonna subscribe, guys. Go subscribe to this channel. Hell, both of them. Who cares? Do both. Brandon Straka This is cool. We like these. We like debate channels, guys. I like this. So and smash the like for them. We got to check out what other stuff they got on this channel, because I think this is the first debate I've like reviewed from this channel. But give them their credit here. Smash the like, smash the sub, get over there and smash them. Oh, I was going to find out who this little twink is in the center that I wish was me in this little man sandwich. Hold on. Owen Shroyer, Harrison Smith. Okay. Okay.
You are allowed to interrupt each other. You are allowed to keep the passion flowing. I'll interject if anything crosses a line or becomes disrespectful. The only exception to that rule is going to be this first question, in which I ask that everybody agree not to interrupt and to allow each panelist their turn without any interjection. So let's begin the conversation by identifying how the generations are feeling about each other. I'm going to start with the millennials and then give the baby boomers the final word. We'll go one by one, each panelist getting 1 minute to answer the same question. Starting with you, Alex, what about the boomer generation is problematic for the success of the conservative movement going forward?
In my personal opinion, one of my biggest complaints about the boomer generation is their lack of self-awareness. You know, this is a generation that was able to buy a home. They were able to have access to a lot of things that we're not currently able to have access to. They didn't have to compete with illegal immigrants for jobs. And I think that it is really boiled down to the fact that they didn't have access to the same information that our generation did, because they got...
I want to say it took me longer than I'd like to admit to fully realize in my head that the baby boomer they have, this guy, is not Mike Huckabee. It is not. So I just wanted to clarify that for anybody else that might be as dumb or me or moving on.
The internet so much later in life. And the example that I like to use is like my dad. I've grown up in Dallas, Texas my whole entire life. And if I tell my dad that the CIA was involved in JFK's assassination, he almost wants to hit me because he doesn't believe in conspiracies. But then I talk about the Vietnam War and I bring up the Gulf of Tonkin, which is a false flag attack.
I remember when I watched this beginning part, dude, this is put so well right here. He wanted to hit me. Hold on. If I tell my dad that the CIA killed the Kennedys, he wants to hit me.
Down to the fact that they didn't have access to the same information that our generation did because they got the internet so much later in life. And the example that I like to use is like my dad. I've grown up in Dallas, Texas my whole entire life. And if I tell my dad that the CIA was involved in JFK's assassination, he almost wants to hit me because he doesn't believe in conspiracies. But then I talk about the Vietnam War and I bring up the Gulf of Tonkin, which was a false flag attack that brought us into a war that killed thousands and thousands and thousands of people, you know, in a war that he was almost drafted into. He just doesn't understand that because he doesn't know how to work the internet properly. And so I think it is just the lack of self-awareness for the America that they used to live in is gone. It's not the same one that we're in right now. And the fact that they have a lack of information that young people like myself were able to get.
Harrison?
I think we need to work together. I know it's supposed to be a debate. I feel like there should be a call to action for the boomers because I think Alex is right that there's a disconnect with the younger people. And I think the biggest problem with the boomers, if that's the question, it's the holding on and the hoarding of power. And that there's not been a good enough job done of passing power on. I mean, we don't even have Gen X here, right? They don't even represent it. We skipped right over them. Now the millennials are waiting for our turn. It's almost like Gen X never got the turn. It's almost like the boomers that got into office in the 60s are still there, still running things, and haven't actually like cultivated that younger generation to replace them and to pick up the reins. And so that causes resentment in the younger generation, which is of course returned, I think, from the boomers because they feel it and spit it right back. So yeah, it seems like the boomer mentality that I hear a lot that gets on people's nerves is, you guys should have seen this place when we got here. It was a paradise, you know?
I would echo the access and the influence that Harrison is talking about, where I think millennials feel like they're kind of getting cut out of the deal. And what I would use the current example of what's happening on the right wing right now. If you want to use a specific example, if you talk about any war, but in this case, the Iran war, the younger generations are done. They are anti-war. They vote against wars. This has been proven in multiple election cycles. And it feels like here's the millennials. We just put this administration in the White House. We put Republicans in charge of Congress. And it's like, okay, we did that. And then what do we get? We get right back to the same boomer foreign policies. We get right back to the same boomer policies. And now we're sitting here saying, well, wait a second. We're the ones that got this administration in power. Why aren't we getting represented? And I feel like it's different when you say that to maybe a 20-year-old and you say, hey, you're still young, you have experience. We're in our 30s now. We've come of age now. We are about to inherit this country now. And we feel like with every election cycle, what we're inheriting is getting less and less. The civilization is declining. And we're simply saying, hey, we've come of age. This is what we voted for, and we're not getting it. And so I think that's the generational divide.
All right, same question for the boomers. What about the millennial generation is problematic for the success of the conservative movement going forward?
Well, I think that the biggest problem is that too many millennials and younger generation alleged conservatives have adopted the rhetoric and much of the views of the left. And so there's an expectation on the part of younger people that they're going to...
This guy just called Alex Stein a lefty, a crazy lefty.
...arrive at the top where their parents left them when they kicked them out of the nest. And to those who think that this is not a meritocracy...
You're going to let him talk to you like that, Alex?
...that boomers are hoarding onto power and all of that kind of stuff, that's a classic leftist trope. And so, in my view, the biggest problem that millennials and younger people present to the movement is this demand for access. And my question to them, or my challenge to them, is do what I did. Go out and take it.
It's a funny question because I think over all time, the younger people have always felt that the older people had something that they didn't have access to, and the older people think that the younger people have greater expectations than maybe they should have. I think the whole notion of a gap between generations, this is so not new. That it's having an effect on the current political climate is particularly interesting. But having been a teacher and seeing a lot of millennials, I think there's so much that's being broken deliberately for you all coming through. I don't know that I would call it the affordability problem or whatever, but I think expectations have been given to you that aren't necessarily fair.
Time.
Well, so much more.
But we have a lot more time. All right, go ahead.
These are, of course, sweeping generalizations. The question is teed up that way. My biggest concern is that the millennial generation has embraced the idea that the world is irrelevant. It's about us. It's about the sharing of power, distribution of it, controlling it. My fear is, as was mentioned, you are about to inherit a very messy world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not with us in trying to make it more consistent with our vital security interests and freedoms, it's not going to be recoverable, I fear. And that's what makes me most worried about the next generation's handoff here.
The America First side of the political spectrum has taken a much firmer stance on H-1B visas compared to the Trump administration. Many of them want to send all H-1B workers back to their home country and terminate the program, while the Trump administration is expanding it. Let's take a look. The graphic on the screen shows the disparity in income between the wages of American citizens and the wages of H-1B visa holders along a spectrum of multiple professions. So which direction is more likely to help the American people?
Well, I think that the graph is a pretty telling story right there. And I think that this gets back to the conversation where I just feel like boomers never dealt with this. I feel like boomers never dealt with a job market that was inflated by foreigners. And this is where I think that millennials are a little more resentful to the Republican Party.
Okay, so hold on, let's go back. What did he say? I was looking at something else. What did he say this the graph? Hold on a second.
Handoff here.
The America First side of the political spectrum has taken a much firmer stance on H-1B visas.
This is for what he said their wages. This is like per person. They're saying the fucking the H-1B visa people are actually getting paid more than Americans
compared to the Trump administration. Many of them want to send all H-1B workers back to their home country and terminate the program, while the Trump administration is expanding it. Let's take a look. The graphic on
performance data. Okay. Median wage. Yeah, so they're saying per year, so annual wage, median annual wage. Okay. Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
the screen shows the disparity in income between the wages of American citizens and the wages of H-1B visa holders along a spectrum of multiple professions. So which direction is more likely to help the American people?
Well, I think that the graph is a pretty telling story right there.
You want him to cut his hair? Maddie, so I think Owen does look better with his hair a little bit shorter. The whole lion's mane deal with the beard and not my favorite look for him.
And I think that this gets back to the conversation where I just feel like boomers never dealt with this. I feel like boomers never dealt with a job market that was inflated by foreigners. And this is where I think that millennials are a little more resentful to the Republican Party, even spiteful and contentious, you might say, is because we continue to get screwed over on this thing. Trump was supposed to be different, and he's going right back to the same neocon boomer policies that have been angering my generation since we've gotten out of college. And so you just see it again. They say one thing, they do the complete opposite. And to us, it's like, why are you doing this to us again? And it doesn't matter if you're a left-wing millennial or right-wing millennial. We're all having to deal with this.
Into this, because I think one of the main reasons I wanted to do this conversation is when we look at the generational divide, that piece of the divide that's happening in MAGA right now, what I find, and obviously I'm generalizing, is that it seems like within the boomer generation, there is a lot of resistance to any sort of criticism of Trump. And I don't really understand that. So I'll let you guys speak for yourselves here, but what is your position on that when we talk about, Trump wanting to expand the H-1B program?
Well, here's the thing. I think that there's a little bit of confusion here between the conservative movement or movement conservatism and MAGA. MAGA is a marriage of convenience between a lot of different interests that came together to elect Donald Trump to enact certain policies that they all sort of agreed on. And they are justifiably pissed because Trump has walked away from some of those things, or at least not got them done as fast as he said he would during the campaign. The conservative movement is an entirely different thing. It is based on a set of principles that Trump has, a very limited, affinity for, but essentially, Judeo-Christian values, government informed by the Declaration of Independence, implemented by the Constitution, classical economics, free market economics, and I would suggest also the lessons of World War II and the Cold War regarding threats to our freedom.
George, where is this Trumpless conservative movement that you're referring to? I'm not seeing.
I think it's over here, I would say.
Okay.
And I would say too.
I was going to say it's right here.
There were two things. Well, there were two things that you said, and I'm curious if we can expand on these things that I know we are sick of. I think I speak for most of our generation. Judeo-Christian values. Just please toss that out of the ring if we're talking politics. I don't even want to hear it. And as far as World War II is concerned, are we ever going to move on? Can we ever have a country and a foreign policy that isn't tied into the results of World War II?
Yes, I think.
Why not?
I think that's key.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, that is right. That's the definition of boomer, right? It's the baby boomers after the war. It's as soon as the war's over is when that generation starts. So in a way, I sort of feel for you guys in that you were like the most affected by the change of attitude after the war in every different way. And one of the main ways was a major focus on removing race from the conversation. I feel like when you talk about immigration, to me, race has a lot to do with it. And I feel like boomers were so indoctrinated throughout their childhood, right after World War II, it was racism is the big evil, that becomes an issue because other races, like the Indian, when we talk about H-1Bs, Indians have a very, strong, group in America that is operating on a racial basis. And I feel like one of the biggest weaknesses of the boomer generation that allowed America to become weak was that part of humanity, of the human experience, has been ignored. And anytime I try to talk about race to boomers, it's the boomers who will get very uncomfortable and very reticent to ever bring that up. And I feel like that's, again,
is the boomer generation weak?
I think,
is it a weak generation?
I would say that they allowed incrementally their country to be stolen from them, and we're sort of constantly, it's like, well, what's the problem with the guy? This guy, I mean, he's a great worker, it's fine. And it's like, well, okay, his whole family's coming, and okay, well, now his whole neighborhood has changed, and okay, now, and so it's like you have to sort of be more hardcore and go, I don't care if it's mean, it's our country, you can't have it.
Well,
and I feel like boomers are weak in that regard.
That's universally shared by millennials. I haven't seen any sign of that.
Well, I would say that the people that are mad at Donald Trump are people like myself, when a guy that I debated for, a guy that I voted for 3 times, said that he was going to deport all these illegals, and yet he's deported.
See, this is part of the thing. I mean, hopefully, ideally, we will have some interesting points brought up from each side. Some interesting arguments, maybe things that you've seen people discussing other places or whatever. But when it comes to talking about millennial versus boomer versus whatever, we're going to be overgeneralizing a lot during this. But I mean, hopefully we can get somewhere. And we got our boy Stein here, so I'm sure we'll get a few chuckles out of it.
Less people than Barack Obama, right. A guy that we all don't like. And then if you actually kind of look at the conspiracy behind that, it's because he has all these multinational corporations in his ear basically calling the shots when he says at the beginning of his presidency, well, the hotel workers, they get to stay, it's no big deal. So yeah, I do think that they are being, and like I said, I like Donald Trump, but he's been incredibly weak when it comes to immigration. When he campaigned he's going to build a wall, they can't find any money to build a wall. They can't find, any solution to the SAVE Act. So it seems like if he really was authoritarian like the left describes him, he would be able to do all this stuff that he said he was going to do.
Right.
Or if the wall was on the other side of the planet, we could build it like that.
This question though, because this is a point at which I
damn, that's a good point. That's so funny. If we were funding to build a fucking wall in some other country, it would be built already.
Vehemently agree.
Yes.
We've witnessed on our watch, yes, probably not because of conservatives, but because of the left and the establishment, Republicans particularly, this incremental boiling of the frog.
Yeah.
Well, I think that this is where, to answer the question.
You agree with that? I mean,
well, I think
comparison, obviously, but is that speaking for millennials?
Well, let me try to rephrase it and go back to what you said. When I said we don't want to hear about this post-World War II foreign policy anymore, he said, no, we can't move on. And we're sitting here ripping our hair out. We're like, why? Why can we never move on? Why do I have to sit here and hear about blacks are victims, Jews are victims? I'm sick of it. Why? What are we doing here? Foreign policy, Russia is the boogeyman. Am I stuck in the Cold War?
Have to do with each other?
Because this is it. This is the grasp that we can't get rid of. But it's not. It's overall. It's everything. It's everything. We're sitting here saying we all agree the country's going the wrong way. We all agree we've incrementally watched our country get stolen. Millennials are saying let's do it differently, and the boomers keep doing the same thing over and over.
Oh no, hold it. I disagree with that totally. I mean, this is why I talk. I've said this before a million times. There's too many people, especially millennials, who think that history started in 2015 when Donald Trump came down the escalator. And all of these issues that you're bitching about have been fought time and time and time again.
And we thought Trump was going to be different. That's what we're saying. And it was the same thing.
By the way, so did we.
So did we.
So
Stein making sense, yeah. Bro, what this is like, it's funny. I mean, all of them, inevitably, they're probably going to all end up agreeing on a bunch of stuff because everybody's fucking disappointed with Donald Trump, no matter who the fuck you are. If you actually get if you get probably any, even the most staunch supporter right now, if you could just actually get them in a position where they would truly be honest, or corner them, in a debate type of thing, you could get out of any single person that they're disappointed with Donald Trump. I'm sure you could actually do that.
To your point,
even Tampa Terry, guys.
I think about immigration, right? But
No.
Immigration is not only damaging, but it's also a betrayal. Right? And that's you're suffering the effects economically, the financial effects of that horrific chart. That's very real. But I think we're all really suffering a sense of this was, in parlance, this is not what we voted for. But there's a lot of things that we voted for that weren't happening. But certainly getting rid of all illegals and a lot of legals and people who are here under false pretenses, people who are here literally potential terrorists. Not to mention the whole job situation, and who have completely changed the fabric, the complexion. And I don't care about race, but the entire, if your belief system, you don't like the Judeo-Christian language, but if you're a counter to Judeo-Christian values and you're here and you're imposing your set of worldviews on it, and you've taken over town after town, that's a problem.
Who's doing that?
Oh,
where?
Sharia supremacists?
Where?
right here.
I don't have Muslims telling me anything to do in Texas. I've lived in Texas more than 10 years, and Muslims never told me anything to do.
Stand by.
I have laws in this state that I can't boycott Israel. I have laws in this state against anti-Semitism.
Oh, okay. Here we go. And it has begun. What is the biggest difference between conservative millennials, conservative boomers, Republican millennials, Republican boomers? The support for a certain ally of our country.
Who's writing those laws?
You're going to be finding more and more. This is why 1.9 million Texans in that Republican primary voted to ban Sharia law.
But Frank, this is your fault.
That's what they're.
This is your fault, because you remember after 9/11 when there was a huge issue of whether or not
9/11 was your fault, Frank.
they could build a mosque at the center of the terror attacks?
Center of that.
I know. So I'm saying I'm saying they built the mosque there, right?
They did not build the mosque there.
Well, regardless,
Not able to build the mosque because we stopped it.
Yeah.
But they are working hard to build mosques.
But I'm saying we saw this 20 years ago and we didn't stop it.
Now we got Mamdani running the freaking.
I know.
But they built. They didn't build the one at Ground Zero, but they built them like all around it, right? There aren't there mosques like really close to Ground Zero.
So, but hold on a second.
This is my problem. This is my problem. That Donald Trump.
Isn't this selectively enforcing the First Amendment?
You bet they are.
Well, so you're the ones that are against Muslims.
I am against Sharia and the imposition of it on us because it's not only contrary to Christian.
But that's not happening.
civilization. You are not paying attention.
You're the ones that want to talk about Judeo-Christian values all day long and use our whole military in the Middle East for Israel. You want to talk about Muslim influence? We're done. We don't buy it.
All right. And I'm going back to what I said to you before. You are going to reap the whirlwind if we don't
Of what?
sort it out. Of a world in which jihadis are here and are running.
And why are they here? Why are they here?
This is a false dichotomy.
Why are they here? They're here because we're in the Middle East destroying the Middle East. We've destroyed the Middle East. No, we haven't destroyed the Middle East. How's the Middle East doing right now?
I'm talking about
How many countries are being bombed in the Middle East right now?
this country. You just suggested that they're here because we've screwed up the Middle East. They've screwed up the Middle East, and now they're screwing up Europe, and they're here.
When did they come here?
They're in the process of screwing this up.
And when did that happen? This has all happened while we were
This has
kids.
been
We watched
happening-
all of this happen.
This has been happening since Henry Ford started bringing Palestinian and other Arab workers to run those factories.
But that was never an issue. The issue now is that
Because
there's very
they were
large
jihadists.
there's very large numbers of
Muslim Brotherhood,
ethnic sort of
Sharia supremacists,
Sure.
Somalis, and others who are here to destroy our country.
Sure.
Don't
I agree.
but allow-
Do you believe the
if
official
we're
story of
not paying
9/11?
attention to it, you're not-
Do you believe 9/11? Do you believe the official narrative?
I believe 9/11 was an attack by.
You're not answering the question. Answer the question. Yes or no. Do you believe the official government narrative of 9/11?
I believe that Sharia.
So no. The answer is no. But you don't want to admit that because if you admit that, you admit everything that's followed that is based on a lie.
What you're saying.
Yikes! I think Owen might be right there.
Like Muhammad Atta.
What are you talking about?
He did cocaine. He was with strippers. Do you think he was really like a religious zealot?
I am perfectly prepared to accept that. Yes,
That he was a religious guy?
I am perfectly prepared to accept that religious guys do that sort of thing.
But he was from Saudi. I'm saying, but he was from Saudi Arabia.
Way to paradise.
I know, but he was from Saudi Arabia, and then we go.
What
and
do you believe? What is the narrative that you believe?
Well, I believe that Condoleezza Rice and George Bush had knowledge of the attacks before. They were warned by the FBI. They didn't
What
take
about Howard Lutnick, too?
I'm saying they didn't take the threat serious enough. So that's just the official story. If you want to get into the conspiracy side of it, the majority of the hijackers are from Saudi Arabia, who was an ally of ours. And then if you look at what happened, they use that
Ally of ours.
Well, I mean, they're
Let's
soft.
be honest, it's not
Yeah,
an ally.
particularly back then.
Well, we do a lot of business. We do a lot of business with Saudi Arabia, but I'm saying we never invaded Saudi Arabia.
And Qatar. And
But I'm saying we never invaded Saudi Arabia. We went to Afghanistan. They weren't from there. And if you look at the Mujahideen was created as a proxy group to fight the Russians. You can watch a movie called Charlie Wilson's War that we funded this. So I'm just saying we funded the Mujahideen, and guess who was connected to that? Osama bin Laden. So at one point, Osama bin Laden
with them.
I know. I'm saying so we worked with the guy that blew us up. It sounds awfully convenient, is what I'm saying.
With them against the Russians.
I know. And then all of a sudden he just attacked us. It's just the story. It doesn't pass the smell test.
It doesn't pass the physics test.
He was consistently pursuing a Sharia supremacist.
Then why did we support him? Why did we give him money?
Regardless
of all that,
With the Soviet Union
instead
again.
of this devolving into an argument about 9/11, which I'm doing, by the way, the upshot of that is that at the elementary school near
Mention the people dancing, Alex.
my house, Travis Heights Elementary in Austin, we have such an influx of Afghans. They're teaching classes in Pashtun, and American kids can't get education.
Tom Ogle drove 200 miles on only 2 gallons of gasoline.
Royal Raymond Rife.
Oh, wow.
Patriots, this month the Walkaway campaign turns 8 years old, and in the last 8 years, we have gotten more than 1 million people to join.
Oh, that's weird. I thought I got into well, I'm in an ad vortex, but I thought I skipped an ad to go to another ad that I couldn't skip that wasn't in the video, but this ad is in the video.
In the Walkaway movement, over 100,000 people have submitted their written and video testimonials.
Adception.
Sharing their stories about why they're walking away from the divisive anti-American Democrat Party.
Oh.
Every Muslim a jihadist?
Not everyone, but plenty of them are. And the ones who aren't, you know what they call them? Apostates.
But can we not?
The problem with that is you get killed, so they don't do much to help.
So I think that the reason the 9/11 conversation is important is because I think the biggest difference between us, we're all on the right side politically, I think the biggest difference is foreign policy. And quite frankly, if we're talking about conservative principles, then our foreign policy is the farthest thing from conservative. Because here's what we have witnessed. We have witnessed in our life, our downtowns, our metropolitan areas, our civilization. We have watched everything decay in our life. That's what we've witnessed in front of our eyes, to the point now he's talking about you can't even go to a school. They don't even speak English. You don't even want to go downtown. You might get mugged. But you know what has been happening while we've been watching our civilization decline? We've watched other civilizations around the world basically start from nothing to become nicer than ours, all over the Gulf nation states. And you know where all of our blood and treasure has gone? Into the Middle East. And you know where our foreign policy remains? Stuck in the Cold War era. And there's nothing conservative about it. We have not benefited at all from it. And that's why we're ready to just rip the cord. We want a total divorce, and we believe that is going to solve all the problems that we're talking about here, because we tried it your way, and all it's done is cause the problem.
It appears that the current administration is softening.
Dude, my buddy and I are debating the idea of moving out of the country. We really are. Things are fucking weird over here, and it probably won't even help. But there's definitely other countries where it's more affordable to live, even if gas continues to like get ridiculously priced. But yeah, dude, shit's wild here. Tampa's just fucking crazy, dude. Tampa's crazy. This area, there was bad areas of Tampa, but it's like all of it now is kind of like bad. It's fucked up. It's actually crazy how when I grew up in this area, number one, the traffic is out of control. Even 5 o'clock traffic around here when I was younger was like, hardly noticeable. Now it's like 2 hours of hell, and it's foreign people fucking ramming into you with no insurance and stuff like that. It's fucked up. I go to Walmart. None of the employees speak English. It's like I can't even ask. I got to ask. Number one, I have to ask somebody to get a key to open the sliding glass door so that I can get a pack of razors. That's problem number one that used to not exist when I was a kid growing up in this area. Problem two is when I go to ask them for the key to open it, none of them speak English. Why is that my fucking problem in the city I live in? It's all the immigrants moving into our city. Yeah, I know. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. It's ridiculous. I went to Michigan, drove all the way up there. Guys, it was really nice to be in an area that wasn't completely overcrowded. Like, it was a good time. People weren't, it's not like, I don't know how to explain. It's not like Wyoming was really awesome. But yeah, dude, it was really cool. I got back to Tampa and I just was reminded how nasty Tampa is. How nasty it's become. It's blowing up. People think the problem too here is that there's people living here pretending they're like in LA or something. It's Tampa, bro. No one gives a fuck that Tom Brady played football here. No one cares. No one cares. The whole place is run by Scientologists. They're moving in the fucking crackheads and foreigners. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I probably just need to get out of here. I probably do. It's a little much even for me. I'll pay $5. I'll pay extra for gas up there and just enjoy every day of my life, not when I go to a Walmart that I don't struggle to, like, I need a translator to get someone to help me find something that I can buy from Walmart. The thing I'm buying is probably poisonous and going to kill me anyway. It's just, it's all disgusting.
Its stance on deportations.
700 officers leaving Minneapolis. Did that come from you? Yes, it did. I learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough. These are criminals. We're dealing with really hard criminals. Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people we're getting out. And we have a lot of heart. I said, you got to lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now in farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all. And we're looking to get the criminals out right now.
A form of ketamine was recently approved by the FDA for depression.
Oh.
Ketamine. Isn't that a horse tranquilizer?
Yeah, and they also use it to tranquilize Elon Musk, and it gives him crazy ideas. So cool. Go get some.
Seems like a drastically different stance than he had before. Does this worry you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And that
what's going on?
That was one of the first instances where I was prepared to walk away from Donald Trump after working my tail off in 3 elections and putting a lot of time, effort, blood, treasure, etc., into getting him reelected. To see him back off from that was beyond disappointing.
Why do you think it's happening?
I'm going to agree with my millennial friends over here that it is the influence of big business. And I've seen it in my home state of Florida, where we have the Disney company firing 2,000 American creators and technicians and hiring 2,000 foreigners and demanding that the Americans train them.
Right.
Is that what you think?
Well, I can't disagree. I mean, that is just observably true. And I think Trump has all but admitted it without putting it into words. But I think that if you look at this from like a domino effect, why is he saying we need a softer touch? Why has there been this issue getting the illegals out of the country? And I think you kind of have to go back and look at the larger administration. And Pam Bondi, who I think has been maybe the biggest letdown of the administration, she was supposed to shut down these organizations. She was supposed to shut down the organizers and the funders. She didn't do it. So they got all these protesters out on the street. Now you got 2 of them dead. They try to go do a deportation operation in, you name it, Minnesota, wherever. And now they're out on the street. They're disrupting it. And so now the Trump administration is sitting here with 2 dead bodies saying, fuck. What are we going to do? Just call it off. There's nothing else we can do. And so I go back, and I'm not trying to get stuck in a foreign policy rut, but I think it applies. Again, I'm saying, where can we get things done? We can get things done in every other country in the world. No problem. It's all getting done. Money, manpower, resources, equipment, you name it. We got it. But if we want to do a mass deportation here, sorry, can't help you. Can't even get the protesters.
We got war in Iran before we deported Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Yeah.
We're at in this country.
And one thing for me, it's like, I love the Constitution and I believe in our right to protest, but it seems like that this administration is more worried about anti-Semitism on college campuses than they are about people getting raped, like Laken Riley. And you would think that that would be, a little higher on their priority list than kids protesting and holding a sign that maybe it is anti-Semitic, but at the end of the day, we do have the First Amendment. We have right to, freedom of speech. And it seems like they're taking away our rights to protect a certain group, and they should be protecting all of us by kicking out these illegal
Based Alex Stein.
immigrants. And the jihadis, we want them gone too, but it just doesn't seem like the administration is focused on that. They're focused on very narrow things that actually don't benefit the Americans that voted for them.
Yeah, but that's what really worries me. I got to tell you, is those
Protests?
parties that got in here.
What is protesting?
Millions over those open borders.
Well, Frank, let me ask you this.
Perhaps just one more point. Perhaps as many as 200,000 Chinese soldiers who got in. I haven't heard a word from the administration about deporting any of those people.
Well, in fact, to the contrary,
let alone getting off.
we brought up the
Based old timer. True. What about the Chinese people?
the 600,000 students who were here, and I believe Donald Trump first said this is terrible. 300,000, sorry.
And then he said he was going to
double it. Then he was going to double it.
But what was that about? That was all a part of the financial negotiations with China that had to do with forcing them to sell TikTok because they weren't censoring the Palestinian videos.
It's all deal making in the most peculiar.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
But that was a big.
Well, but see that, but that's
Coming
another.
back to my point of what is MAGA. It is a marriage of convenience between various interest groups, and it's falling apart.
Yes.
Not because of anything that conservative boomers did or did not do is falling apart because President Trump is walking away from some of those core commitments that he made.
Well, and your original question said America first was this and Trump was that. You already in your question separated America first from Trump, which was, that's not how it was supposed to be at all. He was supposed to be the leader of America first. And we're back to the, and he says he is.
I think that's where it goes to what Owen is pointing out, that when it comes to overseas stuff, when it comes to anti-Semitism, there's no barriers. Everything gets done immediately with alacrity. Nobody even stands up against it. But if it's anything that's going to benefit Americans, it's suddenly we have to have a soft touch. We have to be careful about that. Well, do we really want to do this?
Is any of it durable, though? Have we seen, a lasting and ideological commitment to any of those things?
No.
Like the anti-Semitism, all of these things.
And obviously, Trump is making his own decisions. I can't blame every boomer in America for what Trump is doing, obviously. But he is a boomer. But he is a boomer, and he's surrounded by boomers, and he's making deals with boomers. And so, again, you can't blame everybody for that. But I don't know. But it's like,
you guys are saying ketamine is good. It's a good time. Saul, is it? I don't know. So, Saul, I've always been more of a psychedelics guy, The way I've heard people describe ketamine is almost like a psychedelic where it's not like so much crazy trippy patterns, but you're in like a trip type of thing, but it's not like a psychedelic trip. You just feel out there. I don't know if I like that. I like some geometric patterns to go with my meditation.
Listening to kids.
He's not anymore.
Well, when it comes to going on a podcast, he listens to kids.
He wanted to talk to us when we would vote for him, and then as soon as he got in, he overthrew all the agreements he made with our generation. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen the OK Boomer meme. It was kind of a popular thing in pop culture. You may have seen it. But that's what this is. It's like, OK Boomer, here we go again. It's like, OK Boomer, here we go again. OK Boomer, you believe the official narrative of 9/11. It's like, okay, you believe the official moon landing. It's just like, oh my God, OK Boomer, oh. It's like, can we ever move on? Like, can we ever do something for our country? We're sick of this same policy, no matter who's in power.
Which policy are you talking about that you're sick of? Exactly.
I'm stuck in a post-World War II world. I'm stuck in a post-World War II world where I have to sit here and act like every Jew is the biggest victim on the planet. I'm stuck in a post-Cold War foreign policy where Russia is still the boogeyman. None of this stuff makes sense. In fact, quite frankly, and this might be a little controversial for you, but I truly believe if we divorced completely with the Middle East and just got completely out of the Middle East and actually formed a partnership with Russia, I think that would be the most beneficial thing for our country today.
Wait, Bubba mad at Alex. Welcome, CC, by the way. Welcome. What are you talking about? I thought they were on good terms right now. I have no idea. I didn't. I caught like a couple minutes of Bubba's show today. I had a crazy morning, and was a little bit late to work. Not that bad at all, but yeah, I was running late. I thought they were on good terms. Isn't Alex? I heard one day. This was like last week that Bubba was talking about Alex wanting to borrow his car, and he didn't want to stay with Bubba because he knew he would be a little piglet and eat about 10 sleeves of Oreos and leave cookie crumbs in the bed and stuff, So I thought they were on good terms. I have no idea. Something about Alex wanting to bring a camera crew. He didn't pick up the car. Oh, so I don't know what's going on. Hold on a second. Let's go to... I thought Alex said something about that he's in Tampa, and I thought Bubba reposted a video of him or something. So I assumed they were on good terms. Was it a story? What the hell? Oh my God! This is in Hillsborough County? Hold on a second, guys. Hold up. Alex Stein did something in Hillsborough County today. One of his things. Hold on a second, guys. Let me get you over to this tab so we can take a look at this together. Alex Stein, you dog. You damn dirty dog. Is this on Alex's page? Let me get you guys over to this tab. Platow. Splatow.
Queens, I just want to say it is Pride Month. Who is excited for Pride Month? I know.
Oh no, here we go. He's doing a gay bit. Okay, I like it. I like where this is going so far. Lock in, guys. Hold on, let me make this bigger. Platow. Splatow.
That I'm excited for Pride Month, but I want to say Jane Castor makes all of us gays so proud because she is one of the first gay mayors of a major metropolitan city. So shout out Jane Castor, but the rest of Hillsborough County is not gay enough. And so I just want to call on this Pride Month should be a priority to make it where more drag kids can be free to be gay. So I wrote a little stanza for you, and it goes a little bit like this. It's okay to be gay, even if you want to play with an old man and his fun bags. It's okay to be gay. Being gay shouldn't be cliche. It's okay to be gay. Look at a penis on your phone today. It's okay to be gay. I don't care if you have monkeypox, as long as your body rocks. It's okay to be gay. All I want to do is say no way. If you're a girl.
The people back here are just truly puzzled. I don't think they realize who this is. Stanza, yes. Yes, a stanza. Oh, fuck, a little limerick. Oh.
Girl, your body is nasty. I like the booty cause that goes fasty. I like to be super gay, doing TikToks where I really slay. Slay queen, I like to be gay. And I love it every day. And I want to stick my tongue in your butt, lick it deep, make you say what? Drag queen shows for 8 years old. Don't be afraid to be really bold. We need pride flags in the classroom. Just cause I'm hanging kids, I don't need to groom them. They already are very gay. It's okay to be gay.
He's just rubbing the fucking lipstick on his face now. He's not even trying to hit his lips. He's just rubbing it on his face like the Joker or something. This is getting scary, Alex.
I know it's invented by the CIA. It's okay to be gay. I just want to say that you always need to slay. It's okay to be gay. A gay man will save you than you could ever pray. Come to my house, eat these cookies. I hope you enjoy how they make you feel. Tell your parents they need to chill. We're gonna hang out all tonight. Let's not cause a gay fist fight. And I just want to say, I'm a proud gay man. We need to make drag.
Were you just running out the clock at that point? Oh my God, that was the longest one. It's the longest one I've ever heard him do. Oh my God. Oh, dude, no, that's funny, bro. It honestly, I'm not even trying to be a dick. It sounded like it looked like he had some cue cards down there with points, and he was like, coming back and forth to him, and he repeated a couple of them. He's just like, fuck it, I've got 5 minutes. How long was that? Was that only 3 minutes? That was the longest 3 minutes of my whole fucking life.
Shows for children were accessible, and I wore my favorite gay pride shirt. It's a Dallas Cowboys Dak Prescott t-shirt jersey. So if you guys want to get this, you can get it on Etsy or my TikTok shop, and it's primetime Stein. And I just want to say, Hillsborough County, you guys need to do better and be a little more gay. It's 2026. 8-year-olds should be able to go to Pride this year. Thank you. Good morning.
Okay. It's okay to be gay. Dear God. I'd love to ask Alex, how does it feel knowing that the U.S. government could easily use one of your bits as like torture? They could extract information from very, very dangerous people. They could extract very valuable information from them by torturing them with playing one of your bits at a very high volume over and over again. That's the same could be said for my parody songs and stuff. Okay, I'm not talking shit. I'm just...
I really believe that. To Owen's point, well, I just want to say this, and it looks like Trump does want to get out of this Iran war, but I think that would be the best strategy to get out of it if Trump did make a deal with Putin, who is a big ally with Iran, and somehow simultaneously ended the Ukraine war and this war at the same time. I think that would be the best way to get out of this quagmire that we're currently in.
We've teamed with them before, and when they were far worse than Putin, right? We allied with Stalin, if I may be so bold as to bring up World War II. So we've allied with people who aren't our friends, because the enemy of our enemy can well be our ally with a particular focus. Is Putin interested in this?
Yes,
he's been more receptive
since
than
the
Zelensky, according to Trump.
Well, what Putin says is that he sort of routinely, after they were stabilized and everything, he would talk to presidents and say, why can't Russia just be another European country? Can we join you guys? And the president would say, you're right, you should. And then, as Putin puts it, the men in gray suits would come and say, no, we're not doing that.
And that's because NATO takes our money. And Trump talks about this all the time, but he won't do anything about it. NATO has raked us over the coals for billions of dollars. And that's why they wanted to keep Russia as our enemy. And of course, the United States, they get a little benefactor too with whatever insider deals that they do with the EU now. But that's what it was. If you would have cut off the rival of Russia from the United States, from the West, guess what? No need for NATO, no billions of dollars going into Europe anymore. So they said, oh, no. Well, we don't want that. We want to keep that money flowing. So there's way too much of that going on in politics.
But why do you think Trump is ideologically aligned with what you just say?
Yes, but Trump is a negotiator, and he knows NATO has huge leverage. He knows if he threatens to pull the NATO funding from Europe, that they'll basically get on their knees and beg.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, I think, why Trump continues to keep us in NATO, is for that leverage in the negotiation, which I don't like, but I do think that's why.
A lot to be said for that.
I want to ask you, I think that your generation is used to politicians not keeping their promises. We famously remember George H. Bush, no new taxes, and walking all of that back. I think a lot of people, 10 years ago, you were in your 20s, early 20s, and I would imagine very excited about what you thought was somebody very, very different, not a typical politician, maybe not a politician at all. First of all, would it be fair to say that right now, do you think Trump is just a typical politician?
Yes.
That's Tony Hay Monkett's up in here. What's up? Famalam, thanks for joining us. What's up, dude?
So my question for you all is this just the way it is? I mean, are we just on a perpetual...
I'm just grabbing a bottle of water from over here. Hold on one second.
Cycle of being lied to?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, again, this is one of these, history didn't start in 2015. How do you think we felt when Reagan didn't produce all of the things that he said he was going to do? I mean, I was there when George H.W. Bush said no new taxes. I was there when I saw the smirk on George Mitchell's face when Bush caved for and agreed to the tax increase so that he could proceed with Operation Desert Storm. And so, this disappointment is nothing new. It just happens to be focused on a new subject, which is Donald Trump, who we all thought was going to be different.
But I think, too, Reagan did have an ideological core.
Well, yes.
And that he pursued imperfectly, because, by the way, we're all imperfect.
Yeah.
And, my rule of thumb, all politicians lie. So, I've said this, and we ought not ever be surprised. But I think there's an ideology that we expected Donald Trump to have. America first, MAGA, that is, every part of this conversation is revealing not so. And you and I have spoken, he turns out to be not ideological at all. It's deal making, it's immediate pragmatism. It's not to your point about MAGA, marriage of convenience. To what extent did he ever verbalize exactly what it was? I'm not saying it's quite as vague as Obama's hope and change, but it allowed all of us to put in our own hopes and dreams, which allowed all of us to be betrayed in our own way.
Back on that a little bit as we go into the next question, because he very definitely said he was going to drain the swamp.
Totally.
Very definitely said that he was going to go in, clean up our three-letter agencies, clean up DC. So I want to move on to a topic that has affected, I think, every single person on this stage, and it's very serious. It's the topic of accountability and de-weaponization.
Upper titty, middle titty, lower titty, biceps, triceps, and don't forget about the shoulders. With this Flybird hydraulic press.
Did you guys know that you can support Walkaway by going to our shop and getting some incredible merch and swag?
No, I had no idea, and I don't want to know that.
And he's an Orthodox Jewish guy. His name's John Garcia. He's probably going to get mad that I said this, but he just left the DOJ because he was a J6 attorney, and he kept on writing memos encouraging the Department of Justice to investigate.
Most of us took for granted that this administration was going to go in and clean out our three-letter agencies, get justice for some of the most crooked and corrupt actors who really destroyed people's lives. I'm talking about people like Fauci. I'm talking about the January 6th committee. I'm talking about Bonnie Willis, Letitia James, James Comey, Alvin Bragg, and all the rotten apples in the FBI and the DOJ. Where are the arrests? And what's going on?
Well, I want to make this point. I'm actually friends, and he's an Orthodox Jewish guy. His name's John Garcia. He's probably going to get mad that I said this, but he just left the DOJ because he was a J6 attorney, and he kept on writing memos encouraging the Department of Justice to investigate the Department of Justice, and Harmeet Dillon will not do it because they're not going to investigate themselves. So if you think that there's any chance that we're going to get any sort of retribution for the January 6th committee, 0% possibility. So we have Trump in that's not going to go after the corruption that he campaigned that he was going to go after. So it's very frustrating, especially because we know that was a scam, you know, and obviously you were affected by January 6th. A lot of people's lives were ruined. And yes, that was probably the best thing that Trump did was pardoning the January 6ers, but that doesn't take back the time you lost, the money you lost, the relationships that you lost, the family. I mean, it's just so much. You don't even get any sort of retribution. You don't.
Hard to take Alex serious after that song. You mean I shouldn't switch from a serious debate over to a bit where he's drawing lipstick on his face like the Joker and pretending to be gay while he sings a song about wanting little kids to do drag? Fair point, Bob Cook. Fair point.
Don't even get any financial,
lawyer fees, right?
Restitution. Right. Yeah, it's a horrible situation, and it would be so. I'm saying it's similar to the Epstein list. It would be so easy to go after the corrupt people that were part of it, but they choose not to because they protect their own.
But Alex, some of the architects of January 6th were promoted within the FBI. Promoted. So we're not just not getting rid of bad actors. Some of them are getting raises and promotions.
Could I go back to this point, sort of the subtext of did Trump disappoint? Did Trump betray us? Did Trump do what politicians do? Corruption, which we're talking about in this context, is at work in all of these things. We have, let's be clear, interests. Vested interests. We have lobbyists. We have corporations. We've got people who want those H-1B visas, all of which operate, and that's not transparent to the American people. And it may not even be transparent to the politicians or the non-politicians in Trump's case before he gets elected the first time. By the second time, third time, we clearly do. But this is a point that I mean, it goes back, I guess, in a way to what George is saying. We're suddenly seemingly arriving at the conclusion that there's gambling going on in this casino. We're shocked. We're shocked. If you want to do something about politicians lying to you, it has to start with accountability, for one thing. You don't rehire them when they do it to you. You punish them. And
so would you then agree on that point?
And you go after the vested interests that are corrupt.
So would you agree then on that point that your generation failed to do that?
I would agree that every generation has failed to do it.
I don't believe we've had a proper chance. I don't believe our generation had that chance.
To be fair, Cash Patel is our generation, and he's not doing anything.
And he's very unpopular right now.
By the time you're running things, you will have this problem.
Do you think, I guess the difference then is, the way we look at it is, if the path that we are on is imminent death, which we all agree America's not on a right path, generally speaking, politically. If the path that we're on is imminent death for the country, and for us younger generations, you can call us left or whatever you want when we raise this stuff, but the levels of contention and resentment that I believe our generation on the right side of the aisle, we are way more contentious and resentful of our government than I think your generational conservatives and right-wing people were. Now, I don't know if it's going to have any different results, but I feel like that's what we're just looking at, this monstrous system that is nothing but corruption, and we keep hearing why it has to continue. And our generation, both on the left and the right, maybe quite frankly, our generation is saying, just tear the whole thing down.
Yeah,
just tear the whole thing down before it goes on to them.
Well, there's an urgency to it for us, I think, because people saying, well, I'm not voting for the Republicans in the midterm because this has been so disappointing in the Iran war and everything. And, I see people online saying, oh, but we're moving the ball down the field. But, at least if we have Republicans, it's moving in our direction. And it's like, well, we're about to die. Like, the game's almost over. We can't just be moving the ball down the field. We've got to score a touchdown. So there's a certain lack of urgency, I feel like, and yet millennials, or maybe I'm not speaking for everybody, but I feel like if we don't get it done right now, Gavin Newsom's going to be president. We're all going to be in jail, and they're going to give backdoor, residency to everybody who came across.
The midterms go bad.
Well, the midterms have already gone bad.
We here feel that urgency like you cannot believe. That is what drives us. The urgency is
But part of what I think
deeply
is
understood.
slowing us down is the inability sometimes to even be able to talk about these things because of the whole, stop the infighting crowd.
Bob wants Alex to debate as the gay character that he just played at the Hillsborough County, city council deal. I would watch it, Bob. I would watch it. I don't know that I need that, but I would watch it. I'm there with you. What do you say? I always hate it when people say I don't care if you're gay, but I just don't want to celebrate you for a month. I don't see the pride in AF or SL? SL? What are we talking about? AF or SL? Sniz said, what have the younger generations built? We've done a lot of work, but it's not been so much building. We've been bombing. You see? We've been doing a lot of bombing, so you have to deconstruct things before you can build them. Take a look at the Middle East and, take a look at Gaza. Well, welcome, Sniz and the Chiz. Good to see you.
This might not seem like a generational issue, but in some ways it really is, because when I see people online expressing outrage and frustration that nothing seems to be happening, it often seems like it's members of the baby boomer generation jumping in the comments and scolding people for not being patient enough and lending what could be described as limitless optimism that everything's being handled behind the scenes and justice is coming, just give it more time, trust the plan. But what if it isn't?
Yeah.
And why aren't we allowed to be frustrated and ask these questions without being reprimanded?
Well, I want to say that those questions should be asked and they should be answered. And there have been answers in the past to these same kind of situations. And I hate to keep going back to Reagan, but that's a model that's worth following. I mean, in the late 1970s, there was immense, it's hard to put it in words. Anger is probably the best word, frustration, but it was deeper than that. It was more visceral. And what people did, because we didn't have the option of going online and ranting, is we got organized, we went precinct to precinct, we elected conservatives to run the Republican Party in many states, and we elected Ronald Reagan. And what I see going on today is not that level of figuring out how to solve the problem. Ranting online is not going to solve the problem. Electing new people from your generation or people who are not from your generation but who share your concerns is the only way to fix this stuff.
Well, you know what? Trump came out of a similar frustration with Obama, right? So Trump was the reaction.
Yep.
Sniz, are you actually petulant children? What are you mad? You mad at Alex Stein? And Owen Shroyer? I thought you liked them. Maybe my is it my title or the caption I put for this stream? Maybe that threw you off a little bit. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I put. I probably see initially when I was watching this, it seemed like the boomer side was more like just blatantly supporting Trump. That's where I thought this was going. I only had watched like maybe 15 minutes of the actual back and forth. You'll be conquered with your worldview. America is the greatest country on earth because of boomers. I mean, it's good and bad. You can't acknowledge there's maybe some bad things that have happened on the boomers' watch. They sold our country to our ally.
Right?
And that was mostly on foreign policy, by the way. Obama won against Bush's foreign policy. Trump won against Bush's foreign policy, but Obama carried the same thing. But I am curious about
deeper than that.
I am curious about
it was much deeper than that. The country felt very sick at the time.
I am curious about what you said about Reagan, because obviously we don't have that experience. I will argue that I think ranting online is a general way of saying that there's no effectiveness there. I do think online is kind of the new door-to-door in a way. So I do think there is some value, not to just ranting online. But I have seen with my show, but I've seen with my show, there has been a political effect. I mean, I was one of the first people to come out in the media and support Trump against the entire GOP establishment, and we won. So there is a level there. But I'm curious about the Reagan context, because you mentioned earlier, and I don't know, I wasn't there for that. I'm seeing what's going on with Trump, and it sounds like there might be a lot of parallels. It sounds like there might be a lot of parallels where Reagan got in, let down a lot of his big supporters, but it kind of, he to this day kind of remains as like the example of conservatism. He's still kind of put on this pedestal of he's the greatest Republican ever. But it sounds like from your history, like you kind of went through that and you're saying, there was similar stuff with Trump here.
Well, yeah, I'll give you a great example. There was a period, probably about 2 years into the first Reagan administration, where conservatives were taking out full-page newspaper ads criticizing Reagan for example, tax increases, for illegal alien
Immigration
stuff.
I want to make this point. That's what they actually said is when the immigration problem started, is that when Reagan won 49 out of 50 states, and they realized, look, we need to get some immigrants in here to try to cook the books because the conservatives are dominating so much. And that's actually when the big push started, was after Reagan dominated his election.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's true or not. I will accept that your representation that it's true.
An immigration bill, he read it.
Yeah. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is simply that this disappointment with Reagan didn't translate into walking away. It translated into bearing down.
Sniz, what you think you know something, yet you know nothing. What is but same to you, Sniz. That's what I was just gonna say to you before I saw this. You think you know something, yet you know nothing. Got him.
Electing more conservatives to Congress and basically getting Reagan to be Reagan. And so how do we get Trump to be Trump?
Well, I think that's where we're
Dude, I'm not realistically listen, I'm not blaming the boomers for stuff. Well, clearly it's the Jews, okay? All right. Let's just be real. Let's stop with this false dichotomy here. Listen, I did not intend to come on here, and Sniz, I feel like you've come in the chat, and I love you, and I feel like you've come in here to defend boomers or something. Can anyone say what is a negative thing that have I been like using this as an opportunity to shit on boomers? I haven't. Scott texted me back. I texted Scott Sarbard about something. I don't think we can tear everything down and survive. What do you mean? Did I say to tear everything down? Let's burn it all down, guys. No. Tear everything down. What do you? No, you're right. Probably not. If we, what do you? I'm not even sure what you're referring to, but I agree.
Not to repeat that history, honestly. And I don't know if we can ever get Trump not to be Trump, as you put it. I mean, I don't know if I would say I've given that up. It just seems like he's already decided. Whatever's going to happen in this administration, it's already a done deal. I think that we don't want to repeat that history. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, I don't want to see Trump get held up as the gold standard for a Republican president. I would much rather see him in the dumpster and say, we will never elect another Republican like this because he betrayed his base, he betrayed his voters, and he did not follow through, and he was not conservative at all. And so that's the history I think we're trying to avoid here.
One of the largest divides between the generations right now is about the weight of the Epstein files. This was and still is a really big deal to a lot of people, and many consider it to be perhaps the largest scandal in American history. But the message became that it was time for all of us to just move on from this topic. So where do the Epstein files fall on your list of important issues, and do we all need to just move on?
Well, I think it was the deep state handed over to Trump on a silver platter. I think that because it is tied to the most politically connected, banking connected, popular connected, they just decided to table it and shove it under the rug and pretend like it didn't happen. And the excuse that, it would cause too much chaos, it would cause too much destruction, whatever, maybe that's true, but to me, it's probably worth it for transparency. And this was part of his campaign that he ran on. It was part of Kash Patel and the media tours he did. It was part of Dan Bongino's show for years as well. And for us to actually get a glimpse into the files and then not get any arrests, it's a weird message to send when you talk about draining the swamp, deep state arrests, and then it's like, this is how politicians get corrupted. This is how they get compromised, and we get a little glimpse into it, and then nothing happens.
It's almost the worst possible outcome. It would almost be better if we'd never gotten the files than to get the files and not have any arrest from it, because all that is normalizing what's going on and saying, all these people did all this, and what are you going to do about it? It would almost be better to not have the files, and so we could just continue to speculate and go, okay, we know these people did these horrible things, and they're not getting charged for it.
Well, I want to ask just one question. Do you think Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Of course not.
Look,
Base Granny. Based Gertrude over here.
Boomers for the win.
Yeah. Despicable, disgusting, and reprehensible. I happen to fear that while we're focusing on this individual and his friends, who were an assorted lot, we're ignoring the fact that there is, in America today, an institution that sanctifies this kind of behavior.
This family has been filling and filling their mill food recycler for a week now. And yet...
Because the perfect man, Muhammad, took as a wife a girl of 6 and raped her at 9. And every Muslim is supposed to faithfully emulate the perfect man. Now, why are we ignoring that? I mean, that really is, I think, an example of where...
You know what? He's got a point.
Millennials and boomers could all agree this is totally unacceptable.
But that's a deflection. It's just a different. That's a totally. That's a deflection.
It's not different at all.
It's totally different. But it's about the Epstein files.
Systemic.
It seems to be there's like this gravity of you want to end up with Muslims are bad for everything, and I don't.
Muslims
get
are bad for us.
Well, it just seems like
bad for.
It's just a false dichotomy. I can agree with
the Sharia.
I can agree with that. But like, I would feel the same about Jeffrey Epstein if instead of most of his contacts being Jewish, he was a Muslim and all of his contacts were Muslim. It wouldn't change how I feel about it. It seems
no, it's
okay.
behavior that's reprehensible.
But Islam was created in the year 500, I believe. We're in the year
about the
2026.
Epstein file, and and no arrests. I'm interested to know who and what they should be arrested for, because they're. I've looked through the files.
Alex, I love Alex's response here. He's sort of like, it's child S trafficking. Haven't you heard? We really know what the guy's asking, but I like Alex's answer.
I'm interested to know who and what they should be arrested for, because they're, I've looked through the files. I admit I haven't read all, 3 million pages now, but I've looked through there. Certainly the former Prince of York, or whatever the hell his name is, potentially is criminally liable if the statute of limitations hasn't run. There are a lot of other people who visited Epstein's Island and were associated with him, but in all of that, I haven't actually seen anything that would lead a prosecutor to file criminal charges.
George, I gotta cut you off. You know, Puff Daddy got arrested for much less. There's all adults. And if you take a person across state lines and you have sex with them, and you pay them, or you even facilitate, the transfer of them across state lines for sex, that's a crime.
Well, I agree totally. But what I'm saying is, I looked through there, and the only person that I could find who actually was potentially criminally culpable was the person who was arrested and charged and convicted, and that was Jeffrey Epstein.
The DOJ acknowledges that there were victims, and they've told us many, many times we've redacted the names of the victims. This is about protecting the victims.
Yeah.
So if we have victims, how can we not have perpetrators?
Well, that's my point. Who were the perpetrators? I didn't see their names in the file.
But they obviously exist. But you agree they exist.
I agree they exist.
So where's the investigation?
If they were to find them out, you would prosecute.
Yeah, if we found them out, we could.
Well, we don't have all the files. We're never listen. There is no all the files. Let's just be real. There is no all the files. That's just not even a real concept. I don't believe in that anymore. Yeah, dude, no, we're not going to get everything. Of course. This is why this what's his name? Daniel Tracy or whatever, that the guy who is constantly on Twitter like downplaying everything that's ever been said about the Epstein files. That's why people like him are doing a good job of getting traction and interactions on Twitter and stuff, because they're playing dumb. They're seeing the same patterns of stuff on there, and they're playing kind of dumb and completely blatantly ignoring all the vibes in the room, every vibe that there's ever been in a room, just completely ignoring it and being like, I don't see direct evidence. Where's the direct evidence that would be that would hold up in court and that's admissible as evidence? Where is it, guys? These people can do this because, number one, they haven't released all of the stuff, and number two, we're not supposed to be the investigators. This is the thing. There are files where there are people that seem to be thanking JE for providing them with very much underaged women, girls. The thing is, of course, an email isn't proof of that. No shit. Thanks, Michael Tracy. Thank you, whatever, boomer guy. The thing is, the FBI needs to do their fucking job and investigate that further. There's all this stuff about the Zorro Ranch. Guys, there were all these claims. There's all of this shit about the Zorro Ranch. A lot of people, before all of the files drama started, people didn't even know about the ranch. Everyone thought it was just an island that all the drama, all the hubbub was about. No, there is a ranch where there are allegedly bodies buried. Guys, the property was sold. We're looking at the files where there are all of these things claimed to have happened on the ranch. We're all seeing it. I just want to paint a picture for you here because this is going to discredit the Michael Tracy. Carmine, welcome. The mustache is rugged as hell. Thank you. I appreciate it. I got to trim it, clean it up soon. But yeah, it's growing out a little bit. Just painting a picture for you here, guys. This is the thing with these people that say, oh, there's nothing in the files. I don't see any real concrete evidence. You're not going to get that in a couple emails back and forth. Even if someone put in an email, Jeffrey Epstein, thank you for, I'm an Israeli Mossad agent and I appreciate you trafficking that young child to me. And I had my way with her and blew out every O-ring on her. And she started bleeding to death. I had to chop her up and I buried her at this exact location. Even if that was literally an email like that was in there, these Michael Tracy people, all of these people that like to play dumb with the files, they would go, that's not evidence. We don't have the remains. That's not evident. It's like they would say, you have nothing. We have nothing, guys. All of these emails, we have nothing, right? There's no proof of anything. Right. No shit. No shit, we don't have proof because all that they've given us is allegations that people have sent in as tips, allegations, and crazy email exchanges back and forth that seem to imply something, but that's not enough to equal evidence. No shit, we can't prove anything. They're not showing us the proof. They're purposely not showing us the proof. How could you be so dumb to think oh, we've got the files. There's nothing there. Guess Epstein was innocent. Guess Howard Lutnick is innocent. He lied about going to the island and being friends with him for no reason. He took his kids to the island, lied about it for no reason, guys, because there's nothing to see here. Thank God, right? What a relief, guys.
I mean, there's a lot of talk in the files about murder and torture, and maybe.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't done. What I was getting at was the ranch. People didn't know about their. I want to show you guys the mindset here. This is what we're dealing with. The FBI had all of these tips, all of these allegations about the ranch, all of these things where it said that their bodies buried, women that were offed during rough sex, bodies buried on the ranch. The ranch was never investigated. It was sold. One of the government officials, a lower ranking government official, if it's a commissioner or something, I forget, is the person in New Mexico or whatever that owns the property. But the property was sold off before they investigated one fucking thing. Why would that happen, guys? Why would they have not investigated at all? Why are they now supposedly going back to say, okay, we'll go check things out now after someone else has owned the property for years? We're going to go investigate now and pretend we give a fuck? What, guys, they would have investigated if they wanted to bust this guy. And this was a red alert. We've got children's bodies buried on a ranch. These guys are doing terrible stuff. We got to stop this. Now they're going back. Now they're going to check. Cool story. Yeah. And then people want to say, you guys have nothing. Sorry, they didn't investigate the very serious allegations of what happened at the Zorro Ranch. Sorry, they didn't look into it. Is that on me? Does that make me the crackhead? Because I'm seeing all the hundreds of emails talking about disgusting shit that happened at the ranch. and it was sold before they even investigated it. They didn't even bother looking, and they had all of this stuff. This isn't new stuff. They had all of it and never looked. And we're the crazy people because there's nothing, guys.
Talking like that, and it's not real, but it would be worth investigating that, and a lot of the names talking about
I
that.
agree, totally.
So, I mean, those are, and it's only America that's not looking out after this. I mean, the UK, their government almost fell because of the Epstein files. France just yesterday, and then again today, I think, raided the Rothschild.
Dude, yeah, the vents, that's it, yeah. I remember learning about the ranch for the first time when they put drone videos showing the industrial vents, yeah. Brian from Philly, what's up, what's up? Good to see you, sir. Where did you guys have dinner? I saw you and Frank post it up.
Bank in France investigating this. It's only America that's not investigating this, and it's mostly Americans in those files. So if France and England can find things to investigate, how can we not find things to investigate? It's not because they're not there. It's because the people who are in the files are also the ones who would do the.
And I think there's a bigger connection. The fact that Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was Robert Maxwell, who died under mysterious circumstances, and who was given a proper Israeli funeral as if he was part of the Israeli military. And so there is a way that you could connect Jeffrey Epstein to our intelligence agencies. And just like the Department of Justice is not going to investigate themselves for January 6th, it seems like another situation where the CIA is not going to investigate themselves if he was an asset or if he was an asset for a foreign country. So that's why, because I know how you say, oh, well, there's not enough evidence, I'm not reading the files. They're not going to give us the real files. And the likelihood that Ghislaine Maxwell is probably
based Alex Stein
connected to an intelligence agency, it's a much bigger, there's a lot of the onion that we need to peel back that we're not peeling.
I'm all in favor of peeling the onion back. I'm merely suggesting that having reviewed a lot of the files, and I got to tell you, I mean, I wish there was something there.
Well, see, I don't understand that. I've actually had this debate.
What? What? I love these people that say this. I love it, guys. I love it. There's nothing. I wish there was something there. I wish, I wish there was even just something there. What does something count as? I'm not saying I believe the story about George Bush eating intestines, guys. I'm not like we don't have to believe the craziest thing in there. Even if 1% of the shit in there is true, it's a problem. It's a problem, and I think it's more than 1% of what we've seen is truth.
Multiple times. I don't know how you can say you've properly reviewed the files and not think there's anything worth prosecuting in there. I don't understand.
I'm not saying that there's nothing worth prosecuting. I'm saying that having reviewed them, I can't figure out who would be prosecuted besides maybe former Prince Andrew.
Well, obviously, Maxwell and Epstein were trafficking their sex slaves to somebody. Yeah. Right? Okay. And that's the least of what we know. We don't know what was going on at the island, but I think
that's a fair point. And you know why that is, mister? Because they're like hiding the guys' names. Remember that? They're redacting the names, sir. This is the government that I think it seems like you're kind of defending the fact that they have not made any arrests. Yeah, they're redacting the names and they're not giving us all the files.
Proper framework needs to be had to actually have this discussion. So we all agree Epstein didn't kill himself, right?
Yeah.
You guys know who Jean-Luc Brunel is? You familiar with Jean-Luc Brunel? Okay, another important element. He was basically the European Epstein.
Yeah.
He didn't kill himself either. He died in a prison. He didn't kill himself.
And he allegedly was going to return witness.
And then there's Virginia Giuffre and the rest of the victims that were about to be whistleblowers, and they committed suicide too. Somebody's covering something up. I mean, let's not be children here. Somebody's covering something.
Do they have any connection with Hillary Clinton? And
actually, Bill Clinton was on the island 26 times.
So I think the issue.
Boomer question. It was trying to be funny, and it showed everybody how no, yeah, you're not putting it together. The Clinton was there. Yes, they're involved. Yes, try to keep up, buddy.
That we're having here is we can talk about the files, or we can sit here and say, okay, why was there this blackmail operation going on? That's the real question. Who was running the blackmail operation, and who was all into it? Is our government so corrupt because a lot of these people are blackmailed because they're on tape with underage girls, underage boys cheating on their spouses, laundering money, that Epstein was involved in all of that stuff? I think that's the question we want answered. And right now, the DOJ is just telling us, nope, it's a hoax. We're not going any further.
Exactly. And in addition to all of that, Owen, I was about to say, what I find really unnerving about all of this is the way in which this has been messaged since our side took power. Because everybody in this administration, while campaigning, talked about the importance of getting to the bottom of the Epstein situation, the files, knowing what happened. And I would probably say Dan Bongino, more than just about anybody, contributed to whipping up the frenzy of all of the speculation of what could have been going on. Fine. If I am to have to accept that they went in there, they looked at the files, and there was just absolutely nothing there. Okay, fine, if I have to believe that. But wouldn't the logical thing to do be to get in front of the public and say, look, we understand that we contributed to this belief that there was something unbelievably heinous to find in here, but we're surprised to find out there isn't. That's not what we're being told. We're being told, you're still talking about that? You still care about that? Shut up. Why are you asking these questions? I find that unnerving.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's unnerving also. And I think, again, the onion should be peeled back. But I got to tell you, we've had a poll about the Epstein files up on our website it's been up and down several times. Guess what the number one choice of the respondents is? We don't give a crap.
And what is the age bracket of this poll?
Well, we don't.
Exactly. We care. And I'll tell you what, and this is, I think there is obviously a generational divide, not just in political ideology or perspective, but in technology. I would ask you guys, have you ever heard of Pizzagate? Did you go down that rabbit hole? Pretty dark stuff. What about Frazzle Drip, Wayfairgate? All of these things are connected. All of these things are connected. And you know, just because we grew up on the internet, we can probably move around and put these parts together. And I don't know, maybe you can argue against this, but I would say our generation is easier to go into the internet, put all these parts together, and then like have this consortium that's like, wow, there's really some odd satanic child sex trafficking network going on. Look at all these different evidence points. And then the Epstein files is like the final cherry on top, and then nothing gets done. So if you say that there's a group of people that doesn't care about the Epstein files, that is certainly not our generation. Our generation, it is like up near the top of the pyramid.
And I would say the reason why people like Jimmy Savile got away with it is because your generation wasn't that hard on it. And Jimmy Savile was the world's biggest pedophile before Jeffrey Epstein. He was a host of a show called Top of the Pops. And he was so dark and demented that he would take children. He was a porter at the Royal Children's Hospital, would take children out of the hospital, out of the morgue, and go do SRA, satanic ritualistic abuse, and have sex with the dead bodies and drink the blood. And this is not even a conspiracy. You can look this up if you don't know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly
and I'm saying that people kind of overlooked it because there was a generation where, oh, you know, a football coach sometimes sleeps with a kid and it's not a big deal. But now it's just changed. And I'm not saying that you're okay with that, but it's I think we are finally punishing pedophiles.
Dude, that is so funny, guys, because I was trying to let this play and not stop it too much here. I was going to say this a minute ago, that these boomers don't care about the Epstein stuff because what I was going to say as a joke is because they didn't even have consent laws back when they were growing up, you know. But dude, this is like, you know, these weird kind of crimes. I don't know. There's been a lot of debate on this, on whether it's gotten, whether people have actually just gotten weirder and more deviant and disgusting, that all of this, like, you know, kid touching type of like, and a graping type of, just like everything that type of stuff seems like it's more prevalent, and abducting kids and all the creepy stuff. Is it actually more prevalent, or was it less reported back then and people didn't care as much and people got away with it and stuff? And I think it, you know, guys, listen, there were not that many generations separated from where people, you know, depending on who you believe, people weren't living very long. And they were like, you know, there's probably all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and no one even there to hear you complain about it if you were 12.
But here's what's interesting, and I think we've examined this here today on and off camera, is you talk about that poll. If that same poll said, well, what about Muslims raping children? He'd vote 1,000 times. He'd sit there, he'd click that mouse until he got
I would vote that too, though.
So why does it matter if it's Muslims or Epstein or politicians or anybody? It should be the same priority.
It doesn't matter to me.
Well, it seems to. You don't have near the excitement and fervor over the Epstein
ideological
I said
pervasiveness.
what I think needs to be said about the subject. I think it's despicable and heinous, and I object to it. But
you have been ranting against Muslims here. You don't rant like that against the Epstein files.
I don't rant against the Epstein files like that. I rant against the Epstein files appropriately, I think. I rant against Sharia supremacists who seek to destroy our country. And that's
what about Jewish supremacists that seek to destroy our country?
It worries me that it is.
But what about Jewish supremacists that seek to destroy
Jewish supremacists have, to the best of my knowledge, not sought to destroy my country.
I'm the founder of Mudwater, and a lot of people ask me,
cliffhanger here, send us into an ad. Let's go.
What is the difference between Mudwater and all these mushroom coffees out there?
There's poop in ours.
I hope you're all enjoying this video.
We are. Hold on, let's get back to it here. I appreciate the ad. It's probably really good, but we're going to go plot out.
That bell for notifications so you never miss another video.
To the best of my knowledge, not sought to destroy my country.
Well, what about Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, there's a lot of emails where he's disparaging non-Jews.
May or may not be a Jewish supremacist,
but he certainly was working at the very high level to destroy our country.
Idea. But I'm saying to you that whatever it was he was doing was not going to destroy our country. Even I say it was a lot of other horrible things.
Wait a second.
What he said, Carmine said they call people in their 30s boomers now, bro. Just embrace it. I am the cutest, twinkiest boomer there's ever been.
You think that Muslims have done more to destroy the country than Epstein potentially blackmailing and Israel blackmailing our entire Congress?
I think that he has done, if you say he's done all of those things, that would be reprehensible and terrible. What I'm saying to you—
But would you say it would be worse?
I'm saying to you, jihadists have already tried to do to our country.
No.
To destroy parts of it.
and I
And
got
what they
I
have
got
made absolutely clear they intend to do is
Where are the Muhammad
But
files?
are you saying that what Epstein? Are you saying that what Epstein?
Yeah, where are the Muhammad files?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Because they don't exist. There's the Epstein files.
Well, Muhammad did marry a 9-year-old, though. I mean,
Are you saying though that the Epstein?
Evidence of uncertain quality. I have to be honest with you.
But hold on a second. You're talking about a group of people.
Just me a second to respond to your question. If you're telling me that there is no evidence of what Muhammad's life directed Muslims to do, and that none of that body of work is objectionable to you, I would tell you that you're either off on a toot on somebody who is a marginal figure, or you are simply giving a pass to people who actually want to destroy your country.
You will not find me. Hold on a second. You will not find me standing up for Muslims or their theology anywhere. So let's be perfectly clear. No. I'm doing a simple compare and contrast if we're talking about America's interest. That's what I'm talking about. You're talking about a group of people and their theology. And if you want to go there,
not their theology, their ideology.
Okay, their ideology. To them, it's a theology. Well, what about the idea of Jewish supremacy being a ideology, a theology? That's a very real thing. But again, this is a single group of people. We're talking about a corrupt country and how it got corrupted. It didn't get corrupted by Mohammed blackmailing politicians. It didn't get corrupted by a Muslim island where people went there and had sex with kids, cheated on their wife, whatever. That happened because Jeffrey Epstein was working with the daughter of a Mossad agent to control our government. That is a bigger threat to our country. As monstrous as the activities that you might be speaking of, that is a bigger threat to our country than what it is you're talking
Let's open it up to global affairs. I believe that the topic that most illustrates the generational divide right now is the war in Iran and America's relationships with foreign allies. Many young conservatives are expressing a sense of betrayal, claiming that Trump promised no new wars. Older conservatives seem to stand in firm allegiance with Trump for striking Iran. So let's start first with Iran. We were told we destroyed Iran's nuclear capabilities in June of 2025.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
Bob Cook said information is more readily available now. What do you mean? Is this responding to what I was saying a couple minutes ago about? Yeah, dude, I don't. Bubba has talked to. This has come up on Bubba's show a few times. I don't remember what his position was. I think he said it's more prevalent or something. I don't know, but it's probably a little bit of both. It's more prevalent, and also you hear about it more because information is more easily available.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated, and we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done, and most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close.
So how does this war stop a nuclear Iran?
Well, he just said it all right there. We did it again for Israel, just like everything else in the Middle East. And I'm just curious how that even makes sense. If we destroyed their nuclear capabilities last year, how are they another 2 weeks away? Of course, this is what we've been told by Netanyahu for 40 years. And by the way, Netanyahu has said this in front of our Congress for 40 years. He's asked for regime change in Libya. He's got it. He's asked for regime change in Afghanistan. He's got it. Iraq, he's got it. Now Iran, he's got it. Next, they're going to go to Turkey, and then who knows after that. So do you believe that when they give us intelligence like weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, that is accurate and actionable?
I don't think they gave us information about Iraq and Iran. I don't think there's any question that.
No, but in the past, I'm just saying. Remember how we?
It was actually, but it wasn't the Israelis who gave us that intelligence.
Well,
it literally was.
I just want to make this point because I did cut you off. The reason why we're so especially frustrated with this one,
dude, Netanyahu, dude, this boomer doesn't even remember. Netanyahu literally said to Congress that they had weapons of mass destruction. That he literally made that claim. I don't know if that was the initial source of the claim that there were weapons of mass destruction, but he 100% said it. There's videos of it.
Iran is because they lied about weapons of mass destruction after 2001. They didn't have weapons of mass destruction. We went in there and we invaded.
That's not true. That is absolutely
okay.
Not
See,
true.
this is where we're gonna have a huge disconnect.
Well,
weapons of mass destruction does not count.
Here is a fact. During Operation Desert Storm, the West Germans made a poison gas.
Yeah, sure. They might have had a gas. That's not the poison gas is not a nuclear bomb, though. That's not. No, but this is why I'm getting frustrated. On Fox News,
poison gas.
George, on Fox News, they made it sound like they had. I'm saying they made it sound like they had nuclear weapons. You and I watched the same Fox News back then. So yes, they might have found some chemical gas, but we know that Saddam Hussein used chemical gas that we gave him on his own people. So this is why it's frustrating because you're going to say that they had some gas when they tried to represent that they had nuclear capabilities when they didn't. So you can say that's a weapon of mass destruction, but I can say an AK-47 is a weapon of mass destruction.
Who's this they were talking about?
I'm talking about the media. I'm talking about the media.
I was there. Okay.
And they didn't find a nuclear. They didn't find any nuclear weapons. So let's not lie.
No, they didn't find.
But they represented it like we were going to have a nuclear holocaust, like what's happening now.
That was never.
Okay, so you don't remember Colin Powell saying they have huge tubes? That we have information that they have huge tubes. What was in those huge tubes, George?
They had a nuclear weapons program.
They had a nuclear weapons program.
But that was
So
the
it
argument.
didn't
The
have
argument was there
weapons
were
that really
WMDs.
Destroyed the reactor that was part of it.
Okay, first of all, so having a reactor, you could argue that a reactor could be used for nuclear power, but it's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is we're sick of being lied to and told that they have weapons of mass destruction when they don't. If you're on the cusp of getting weapons of mass destruction, that's
this
not
is
happening.
incredible.
Not,
this is where
the divide is.
This is where we
have
believe you guys fall for pure propaganda.
No, I'm
This
sorry.
is pure. Let me ask you a
weapon is
question. Let me
not
ask you a question. When was the first time Benjamin Netanyahu said that Iran was weeks away from a nuclear weapon? Do you know?
No idea.
The 1980s. The 1980s. For 40 years, he has been lobbying the United States to go into Iran and bomb their leadership so that Israel can take over the Middle East. That's what this whole thing is about. And you guys are stuck on this whole hate Muslims train that you can't even see what's happening right in front of your damn faces.
Well, that's what I'm coming. What is happening? Wait, what is happening?
Our foreign policy is controlled by a foreign country that blackmails and buys our politicians in order to do it. And $5 trillion plus have been spilled in the Middle East because of it. And tens of thousands of American lives have died in the Middle East because of it. And our generation is saying we are done.
And the Muslim refugee crisis.
Yeah, that is totally effing insane.
That's not insane.
What did I say that's not true?
Israel does not control our foreign policy.
Trump just said it. He literally just said it. He had an event in Israel. He said, Marian Adelson is my top donor, and she loves Israel more than America.
That is not what he just
Look,
he just said. He literally.
That's not what he just said. No, he didn't just say that. Do you care if he has said that recently, maybe in the past year?
Just said we did it for Israel.
He thanked.
No. He said so they no longer pose a threat to Israel. He said the reason that we bombed the site was to stop a threat to Israel, not to
He
America.
did not say that was the reason.
That is literally the exact
He did
quote.
not say that was the reason. He said as a consequence.
The nuclear weapons program, as he's made clear in repeated comments, specifically in connection with this operation,
yes,
has been a threat to the United States as well.
In that video we just saw, he said it will no longer be a threat to Israel. That's what he just
But he did not say that's why we did it.
He did not say that this is exclusively. The point is, what we're saying, I think for us three, is we believe we have interests in defeating the Iranian regime.
Of course, because you've been propagandized for your whole life.
No, we have not been propagandized.
This is living proof.
You guys think it's not weapons of mass
We're
destruction?
capable of making a judgment on the basis of the facts, my friend.
I just presented all the facts to you. You didn't know the facts.
Selected facts.
No, you didn't even know the facts.
You.
Dude, that is hilarious. Trump just said in the video that they're no longer a threat to Israel. And these guys, the boomers, are like, that doesn't mean he only did it for Israel. It's like, you can't tell. You can't read the room, guys. Are you just are you pretending to not be able to read the room? This is like if your house burned down when you weren't home, but your girlfriend and your dog was home, and you fucking the cops tell you your house was burning down. They call you on your phone. They're like, "Oh my God, we're here. Your house is burning down, but we saved everyone inside." And then you go, "Is my dog okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, your dog's okay. Your wife was here too." Yeah. But the dog, it's okay, right? Yeah. No, the dog is great. Do you want to know about your wife? Okay, just could you make sure the dog has some food maybe too? Could you play with it a little bit?
Don't
I didn't know when Benjamin Netanyahu first said that the Iranians have a bomb.
Wouldn't you say that's a pretty important fact for the current foreign policy? Really? Okay.
That's the reason that what we know and what we have witnessed is a program that has systematically been pursued by the Iranian regime.
I have the best analogies, guys. Jesus Christ, I'm so good.
Has from the day it came to power said death to America as well as death to Israel.
Does Israel have nukes?
Choose to ignore that at our peril.
Does Israel have nukes?
I hope so.
Okay, so here's Israel that wants a regime change war in Iran for 40 years.
I hope so. That's the words of someone who has not ever heard of the Samson option. Good for you. I bet he sleeps really well at night. I'm honestly jealous.
And Iran is sitting there with a nuke pointed at them, and what do you think they're going to do? Oh, okay. Or do you think they're going to develop an equal weapon to try to level the playing field?
Let me give you a little.
I'm not concerned about the.
Let me tell you something.
Okay, well, maybe Iran is.
The chief of staff of the Indian Army, after Desert Storm, said the lesson of Desert Storm was don't fight the Americans without nuclear weapons. The George Raisley corollary to that is you don't pursue nuclear weapons unless you want to fight the United States. And Iran has, from 1979 to the present, has as part of its constitution that their regime is committed to the destruction of the United States, the destruction of Israel, and the Islamization of the entire world.
You think Iran is a threat to America?
They used to be.
Okay. Oh, and you just said a moment ago that Israel has undue influence over our government. I think you even said blackmails our What evidence do you have to support that?
The Epstein files, I think, is the heaviest.
Well,
And then the results of
give
foreign
me names
policy.
from the Epstein files that are.
How about Howard Lutnick? How about Donald Trump? You want to go there? How about Donald Trump in the files thousands of times?
Guys, all you have to do is look at, and yes, I just want to say, there's a lot of powerful lobbies, but you can look at Cory Bush, you can look at a lot of politicians that if they do not fall in line with what exactly Israel does, they will spend so much money to fund a candidate to beat them. So they can control politics in a very subversive way by doing that. Because if you're not a part of their team, they're going to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to make sure that you lose your election.
Thomas Massie is the number one conservative in the House.
No comparable problem, let alone an even worse one with Qatar.
No.
Well,
it's not as sophisticated.
But it's a how would that be? It's a totally $5 billion going into our universities.
Isn't that awesome? I wish Israel gave us $5 billion. Man, I wish Israel would give us $5 billion.
Well, to be fair, there's multiple countries that are running influence operations.
But they take it, but they're blackmailing us.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. How do you, if you want to blackmail somebody, you think you can get some money out of them? Probably.
Is Israel our ally?
You bet.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why is it our ally? Yes. I believe it's our ally because it has the same enemies that we do.
That's what they
Wait. Why are they our enemies? Why are they our enemies? They're our enemies because we're allies with Israel.
As George has just pointed out to you, under Sharia, they must destroy us because we're the impediment to the global.
Then why are we enemies with Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia is the more extremist version of Islam.
You're not going to get a disagreement from me on that.
Okay, so but what I'm saying is that that's obviously not the reason that we're enemies with them. I'm saying that
with who?
I'm saying why are Israel's enemies our enemies? You're saying because they're Muslim. I'm saying that we are friends with Muslim
they're
countries.
Sharia adherent, which means that they're obliged to impose Sharia worldwide.
Yeah,
that's fine. But that doesn't.
Of their
Do you think our foreign policy has been a success for the last 40 years?
But then he pointed out a country that that's an exception, and then you ignore the exception. He's trying to get you to acknowledge the exception. Let's move on.
I do not.
And who has been the main driver of our foreign policy?
I would say it's a combination of Americans and I believe foreign nationals,
Israelis,
including
like AIPAC.
I don't think they're as much, frankly, as we've seen out of.
Why are you so afraid to say it? It's so obvious. Like, I don't get this.
Well, Frank, none of us are pro Sharia law. You know, I just want to make sure
I'm
that.
just checking my sixes on this because it sounds like it.
Well, that's a misrepresentation.
It's not you're in favor of it. You're certainly excusing it, as we've been.
No. I'm not pro female circumcision. Okay. What I'm saying is there can be two bad guys. Just because one is bad doesn't mean the other is good.
Bro, what? What the fuck? If you complain about Israel, these boomers have honestly. I'm not trying to be. I'm not saying all of them. Every boomer. I'm saying these boomers here they've got the. They've gotten so their Facebook algos and whatever they've been bombarded with these free Palestine people, and so they have this dichotomy in their head that if you are, if you have a problem with Israel, then you're some kind of fucking jihadist living amongst American citizens. It's wild.
Saying that I don't think that the one you're pointing to is a bad guy.
Well, I mean, I get frustrated because
an ally of ours and what they have done in our interests as well as theirs is profound.
But what have they done? What have they done?
What they've done in our interests is take out the Iranian regime.
We did that.
No, we did that. They did that.
Really?
Donald Trump.
Oh, really?
But Frank, Iran doesn't have weapons.
We just watched the video. He said we did it. We sent the bomber.
He's talking about the freaking bomb, dude.
So we did it.
Then why
so we did it.
Why are we talking about the regime?
Then why are we there?
The regime. What regime?
We put Khamenei in 1979. We were the ones that installed him. America installed Khamenei.
We let him go into Iran, and we got.
Yeah, we put him in.
You're not going to get any defensive.
No. Yeah.
So this just shows you how nonsensical this argument is, and this is what we're
nonsensical, dude.
We're the ones that put the regime in. So I guess you're saying that it's our job to take it out. I know. Well, maybe we shouldn't have let it happen in 1979.
Jimmy Carter was a disaster.
Okay.
I think we don't get any disagreement.
Right.
We agree.
Last point. If you net out the mistakes that we made in a number of places, one of the worst of which I believe was Afghanistan, not decisively defeating the Taliban and calling it a day, but trying to convert it into a nation, a democratic nation.
Well, how is Iran different? But how is what we're doing now any different than what we did in Afghanistan?
I think what we did in Afghanistan was we had boots on the ground and we tried to nation build there. We're not doing that right now.
Well, we're about to put boots on the ground.
Donald Trump doesn't even promote regime change. He's trying to work with this guy, Galaxy.
So you trust Trump now? I just find it funny. I just find it funny that you admit foreign policy has been a disaster, and then you say, no, we need to keep doing the same foreign policy. I just don't.
When was this? I forgot to check that before. May 27th. So this has been it's been a minute since this came up. Okay, so yeah, there's no boots on the ground still, right? Supposedly, allegedly.
So when Trump comes out and says we have to keep the workers here because our economy needs them, so we're not doing mass deportations, how do you explain that?
He literally is still ongoing, and he's actually getting opposition from inside his own party. Just look at the quagmire he inherited. 12 million people is more than Ellis.
Gavin McKenna, this is a future debate. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Yeah, sub to this channel. We got this looks like a fun debate coming up. Gavin McInnes, Owen Shroyer. That ought to be a barrel of monkeys.
People who have left MAGA did so after a rift seemed to form between this administration and some that were once considered its most loyal supporters, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, Thomas Massie, and most recently, Joe Kent. And in the wake of this, the administration has backed some previous never-Trumpers and individuals who have been viewed by many as rhinos, like, for instance, Lindsey Graham. As conservatives, are we required to take sides as it feels like directives are being given out about who's in and who's out? And does loyalty mean anything anymore if we're willing to cancel people on a moment's notice who have done so much for the movement?
Well, I would just say Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene had the best conservative voting records in Congress.
And George Santos.
And they both just got, well, they're trying to.
No, dude, so this is funny too. Owen brought up Thomas earlier. Alex Stein, this was really funny because I didn't know, I didn't remember exactly when this came out, because when I watched it, I knew it had already been out for, I don't know, at least a few days, but I know when I was watching it, it wasn't the day it released. I just knew that. But it's almost been a month. In 10 days, it'll be a month. So like when this was filmed, the whole deal with Massie losing to what's his nuts, that guy that got super funded by you know who, and it's really funny because Stein mentioned that. Stein said that that's what happens. He's like, these politicians, if you go against AIPAC, Israel, whatever, then they will just throw a bunch of funding behind some other politician, and then you get voted out. And that's exact. And then Owen brought up Massie right after, and it's so funny because, and it was right after he mentions Thomas Massie, and that hadn't even happened to Massie yet, and it did, right? And right? Yeah. When did that go down? That was just that was a couple weeks ago. Yeah, this hadn't happened yet, I don't think. Anyway, let's move on.
Get Massie out. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I got to get out of here in a minute, guys.
Left, and AIPAC and Marian Adelson are spending tens of millions of dollars to get the top conservative in Congress out.
And all of the people that you mentioned,
We were on a little bit early. Don't forget. I'm not just being lazy.
The main issue with him is Israel, right? Thomas Massie votes against the weapons. AIPAC targets him and tries to get him out. Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, always had a black mark next to her name because of Jewish space lasers. They're always calling her anti-Semitic.
But it was Epstein.
And it was Epstein as well, which also, is involved in Israel. So again, that's sort of the elephant in the room, right? Is all these people got frustrated at MAGA because it stopped paying attention to America and it started serving the Israeli interests. And the never-Trumpers that you mentioned are Mark Levin, Lindsey Graham, who's a total war hawk, not Jewish, obviously, but desperate to get war with Iran for his entire life. So it's like when you talk about MAGA splitting, it's not that MAGA splitting, it's that it's been completely driven off the rails by Israeli interest, right?
No, I think that's an exaggeration. I think that what Tucker Carlson has done is move dramatically in favor of Qatar, for example, and the Turks, and others who are part of. I mean, he's extolling the virtues of Sharia.
Do you think he's an anti-Semite?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I would totally agree with
you. Do you think we're anti-Semites?
I'm getting a little bit of a feel.
So this is why
I'm not anti-Semitic. My grandfather's Jewish.
A little
Dang.
bit of a feel.
Yeah, of course you are. Just like a liberal would if we talked about race.
If you think that the Israelis are responsible for our foreign policy, they're driving it off the rails.
But you don't think they're influential
for an actual enemy?
I don't think they're an enemy, but I'm saying I think they're too influential.
I'm saying that
Bro, this is really funny. Listen to, we're going to let him finish his thought here, but listen to the boomy over here. Listen to the boom saying that he thinks you're anti-systemic. He's getting these anti-systemic feelings from you because you think that the government of Israel has some kind of control over some aspect of our government. So you hate Jews. That means you hate Jews. That's the vibes that you get off of that. It's not like you can just see a government of another country having suspicious ties to our government and that be a problem. That you've got to it depends. If there's Jewish people that lives in that country, then that means that you hate the people that live there. It's not the government you have a problem with, right? Like when I complain about the United States government, that means I hate myself. See? That's how that works.
Getting a feel.
Why is it anti-Semitic to criticize Israel's government?
I'm saying that what I feel is when it goes from criticizing what a government does to somehow generalizing that this is actually.
You have said way more Islamophobic things than anything we've said anti-Semitic.
Do you know what's not Islamophobic? It's pointing out the.
Are you disagreeing with the fact that I just laid out?
Disagreeing with the fact that you've just accused me of being Islamophobic.
I think your statement is dictating that.
Islamophobia is an unreasoned fear.
Yeah.
And there's nothing unreasoned about the concern I have about Sharia and what it's going to do.
And there's nothing unreasoned about the concerns we have about Israel.
Well, I think it is. What is? Because I think what I'm reading is you believe the Israelis are actually hostile to our country.
Yes.
And are trying to do harm to it.
They
I
are.
disagree with that.
At the very least, they're subverting our own interests.
Can you give examples?
The war in Iran.
The war in Iran, I believe, was something that was long overdue because that was a mortal threat to this country.
They can't hit. They don't have weapons that can actually attack America.
I really wish that we had time
Frank,
to do this.
Frank, we're currently in a war with them and they can't attack us. So how could they attack us? We're in a war with them and they literally can't attack us.
We are on borrowed time, my friend.
Okay, well, once again, we're debating hypotheticals. I'm saying we are currently engaged with a conflict with them and they can't attack us here in America, Frank.
Assassination squads that are here in this country right now with a target on Donald Trump's back.
Then why would we start a war with them before we handled that?
The genesis of Iran's war on America.
Why is this so heavily edited?
And how it is embedded in their regime. It is.
That's the first one, I think, but I still.
In their constitution. It is in their.
George, they had a fatwa on using nuclear weapons. Kamani literally had a fatwa on using.
Wait, so are you telling me you're?
He had. So you think that's fake, Frank?
I think it's bullshit.
So wait a second. Hey, maybe it is bullshit.
I'm just.
You think propaganda just started a couple decades ago? You don't think fake news existed when you were young?
Of course it did.
Well, have you ever considered you might be falling for fake news?
I have.
Maybe not seriously enough.
But that's not what's happening. And you're ignoring the true news.
No, I'm not ignoring anything. I'm watching what's happening in my country.
You're ignoring the fact that what's happening in your country is, among other things, the subversion of it by people who intend, and make no mistake about it, intend to destroy it.
So that's your argument, that Iran is subverting our interests more than any other country.
Part of the Sharia supremacy.
And next time it'll be Turkey, and next time it'll be this other Muslim country, and then Afghan, and then Qatar. He's already got
allies with Qatar.
They're all Sharia supremacist countries.
You know that we actually have a more meaningful
agenda.
Do you know we have a more meaningful treaty with Qatar than we do with Israel?
Wait.
Israel is not even a part of the non-proliferation treaty. We can't even have a deal with
them. Whether we have a treaty with them, or whether we have a relationship with them, is more important.
So they benefit quite handsomely from that relationship.
They do, and the Qataris
and we don't
quite handsomely as well. Of course we have.
No.
Let's take your premise in totality, right? You're absolutely right. Iran's trying to kill everybody. What?
Not everybody. Us.
Okay, us. Is this helping? Is the war in Iran helping? I mean, we just got rid of a somewhat moderate leader. A more hardline leader has taken hold. They clearly planned for this attack. I mean, Iran did not start this fight. Iran.
The Ayatollah Khamenei was a moderate leader.
All the moderate Iranians
comparatively to the new guy. Comparatively to the new guy. Yes, the new guy is more.
They're birds of a feather. They're father and son, for God's sake.
How many countries?
So it's the best. We've done nothing.
He's not even the leader. He's in Russia getting treated because he's deathly ill. Okay, the guy who's running it now is the guy that Trump is saying he's going to make the new, Rodriguez.
Is that really going to work?
A very devastating problem.
Frank, I have a question. If Trump can't even pick who's going to be the mayor of New York City, do you really think that he can pick who's going to run Iran?
I don't think he can. But I'm saying what he's doing is legitimating this guy.
Do you think we're going to be stuck in this for?
Of course we're going to be stuck in it. How long is it worth it? How long should we stay in Iran? I mean, if
Not
things.
Iran.
We're about to be.
Well, bombing Iran. How long should we keep this up? What is the ultimate goal?
For me?
No. Well, yeah, for the war in Iran.
For the government, I'm speaking for me.
Okay, but what would we do? Are you going to make them all not Muslim? Are we going to kill all of them? No matter what happens, at the end of the day, it's going to be an Islamic country, right? The same thing happened with Bashar al-Assad. He was an Alawite. He was more moderate. Who replaced him? Al-Jawlani, the Al-Qaeda guy. Was that a good thing?
I was not responsible for replacing.
I'm not blaming you. I'm asking for your opinion.
Donald Trump replaced him.
It's the same foreign policy. It's the same foreign policy. That's what he's saying. It's the same foreign policy.
It's all part of the same.
Which are the same? Which are you comparing them to? Al-Jawlani is the same as the Shias. You're absolutely right.
No. Bashar al-Assad was an Alawite who protected the minority populations in Syria. Yeah, they kicked him out and they put Al-Jawlani in, who's been killing the Druze, and now the Israel.
Like we had better relationships with Muammar Gaddafi at the end of his reign when Hillary Clinton decided he was going to go.
Right, and they didn't open up the floodgates to Europe.
This is amazing. You can go back online and you can find interviews from the 80s and 90s. Before, are you going to?
Well, the real interviews.
Guess where this interview is going online.
Sometimes it is.
So Netanyahu called for regime change in Libya and said Gaddafi was making weapons of mass destruction before Hillary Clinton even popped up on the political radar.
There was a time when he was.
Of course,
of course. That was the best example, actually.
Yes, Libya is such a success story of foreign policy. Another success story.
One can buy a slave for $500 in Libya.
Oh, I'm not saying. I'm saying.
So you're admitting it's a failure.
When Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama took over the brief, it became a complete fiasco. Disarming Muammar Gaddafi and turning him into a guy who was relatively aligned with us
was a big mistake for him.
It was a good,
but for him, it was a very stupid thing. He never should have
got rid of the nuclear weapons, which everybody else has concluded they now need to have
because of our actions. Because he agreed to get rid of nuclear weapons, and he ended up sodomized by his own people as a consequence.
I think we could go back and forth.
Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama made that happen
for a while.
All right, guys. Yeah, that's it. I gotta get out of here with that. We're arguing about the box cutter up Gaddafi's bunghole. It's starting to give me a chubber, little chub. Okay, guys. Alex Stein, good stuff, buddy. Good stuff, base stuff. I wish I could have pulled up more stuff. I really got to go. Go check out Alex Stein's social medias and stuff. He's always doing the city council deals, trolling government officials and stuff. all good uns, all fire, knee slappers. Go check it out. I think there was some other debate thing he did, and I don't know if it was older clips I was seeing. Maybe that's the case. I have to go check. But yeah, guys, we got other fun stuff planned for the rest of this week. I got a couple different topics. One I almost did today, and I didn't really have time to prep for it properly, but I'm going to see about that. Maybe for tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow and Friday are going to be a little bit more, like fun, laid back kind of deals. I got a few different options, but yeah, should be good. Hopefully we'll have Scott Starbird on tomorrow before I go live. I offered him to come on here tonight, but I know he had to work late and stuff. So anyway, we'll see about tomorrow. Hopefully he'll be able to stream live tomorrow night. 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be Scott Starbird, his start time around then. And then the Fat Pig, I'm sure, will be on at some point. Alex Stein over on the the Real America's Voice channel on YouTube. He should be live around 11 p.m. Eastern time after me. So yeah, we'll see about that shit. You got your lineup lovers. I'll see you guys tomorrow around 8 p.m. I'll be slutting it up, doing all kinds of shit tomorrow, and I should hop on around 8. So I'll see you guys then. Thank you guys for the support. I really appreciate it. Maddie, thank you, sir. McKinney Powers, everybody, Tony, everybody, thank you. Bob, thank you guys for hanging out, smashing all the buttons. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh.